Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kassandra, and I'm going to take you through this 20 to 25 minute morning yoga practice. This is a full body flow with lots of great stretches to help you get comfortable in your body as you begin your day. Before we get into the class, I want to say a great big thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. If you're struggling, feeling anxious, feeling a little bit down, I know I've certainly been there before many times in the past, and therapy is what helps me more than anything. BetterHelp is not a crisis line. This is not self-help. It's professional counseling done online. So they'll assess your needs and then they'll match you with your own professional licensed therapist. BetterHelp's counselor network has a broad range of expertise, which may not be available locally in many areas. This is available worldwide as well. You can log in anytime to send your counselor messages and you'll receive timely and thoughtful responses. You can also schedule weekly phone or video sessions if that's what you prefer. There is no more waiting awkwardly in a therapist's office, waiting for your appointment. This is all done in the comfort of your own home online. You can easily change counselors if you need to, and this tends to be more affordable than traditional in-person therapy. There is also financial aid available. The Yoga with Kassandra community can get 10% off their first month by going to betterhelp.com/Kassandra. That's betterhelp.com/Kassandra for 10% off. I'll put the link down in the description box for those of you who want to check it out. Okay, let's get on with our morning yoga class. We'll begin lying down Supta Baddha Konasana in your reclined bound angle. Soles of the feet together, knees fall apart. And you can keep your arms by your sides, or you might prefer reaching your arms up overhead to get our first expansion here and gentle stretch through the shoulders, through the chest. Try to press your rib cage down. Breathing with intention here so that you feel your inhale travel down, finding the fullness of that breath before exhaling back out through the nose. And often when we breathe deeply, we concentrate on bringing the breath forward into the front of the body, so breathing into the front of our chest and kind of pushing our stomach out and up. Instead, I want you to really focus on front to back and side to side. So filling up through the sides of your ribs, the sides of your waist, and even imagining you can breathe into your upper back, mid back, and lower back, just as much as into the front of your body. And take about 5 deep breaths here. Getting your inhale to be just as long as your exhale. You can slide your arms back down if you had them reaching up overhead, and we're just going to lift the knees up so our feet are flat to the floor. Connect your lower back into the mat here. We're going to draw the right knee in towards our chest just to extend that right leg up. And first thing in the morning, odds are the hamstrings are feeling quite tight. You might have a lot of tightness through your ankle as well. So I like to just flex and point through the foot. You can absolutely bend into your knee here. Notice what happens to the quality of your breath now that you've switched to a different kind of movement and a different pose. Try to maintain a long inhale and a smooth, steady exhale. And we'll take a half happy baby, so you can just bend into your right knee here, Hold on to your big right toe with your two-piece fingers and bring your elbow to the inside of that knee and thigh to push it out a little wider as you pull it down at the same time. And you might notice I'm letting my left leg kind of flop over to help me keep my balance and my weight centered. So you're still evenly distributed on both hips, both shoulders, not rolling on one side more than the other. And let's intensify this now by slowly straightening our left leg. And you might feel this into the front of your left thigh. Try to stay centered again here. Bring your right knee to your chest and we're going to cross it over into a twist. So your right thigh moves over to the left and you can reach your right arm out to the side. Try to push your right shoulder into the mat. Coming back through to center, bend into both knees again. Before we do this on the other side, let's find our bridge pose, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Push your feet into the floor, squeeze into your glutes, and really contract into your hamstrings to lift your seat up as high as it can go, while also lengthening your tailbone towards your knees. So trying to flatten out your lower back a little bit here. Push into your big toe so you're not rolling to the outer ankles. And let's release, roll down inch by inch. And let's find our hamstring stretch on the second side. So lift that left leg up, hold on to the back of that leg wherever is appropriate. And just flex and point. It's normal if one side feels more stiff or a little bit more awkward. And we'll find our half happy baby. So bend into that left knee, hold on to your big left toe with these two-piece fingers and use your elbow and your arm to widen your knee away from your shoulder. At the same time, you're pulling it down and you can let your right thigh kind of flop a little bit so that you're not rolling over onto your left hip and left shoulder, but instead staying very balanced and centered. Press your shoulders away from your ears. And holding the pose, you can just intensify by straightening your right leg. Really try to stretch out through your right heel as if you could push it down into the mat, and this will get you deeper sensation through your right hip flexors, which is really great, especially if you know you're going to be sitting a lot today. Let's find our twist. Bend your left knee and you're going to cross your left thigh over towards the right. Reach your left arm out, push your left shoulder into the mat. Collarbones face up. Coming back through to center, we're going to make our way back into our bridge pose, doing a different variation this time. Make sure you have your heels pretty close in towards you, feet hip-width distance apart. Push down to lift your seat up. Stay really stable and firm into your hips. Lean a little bit more onto your left leg and straighten the right leg. Try to keep your thighs at the same height. and your knees at the same height. Flex into your foot, push and kick into that heel. Switch sides, carefully bring that right foot down, level out again, and extend that left leg out. Push down into your right foot, squeeze into your glutes, and bring it back in. Inhale, and let's release all the way down. And you can pull your knees to your belly, rock up. And let's find Balasana. Utthita Balasana, our extended child's pose, which just means we're widening our knees, pressing our hips back towards our heels, and stretching the arms all the way out. So big inner thigh stretch here. We're going to be working inner thighs a little bit more in this class. It's an area that can definitely be neglected and build up tension. I know for me anyway, in my body. Think of melting your heart down towards the floor. One more big breath. Just walk your hands back in and bring your knees so that you have your thighs parallel and in line with your hips here. We're just going to walk the fingertips back, squeeze into your glutes, roll your shoulders back, and see if you can just lift your hips up. Nice little thigh stretch here, opening through your heart. And let's release. Come to the center of your mat and face the long edge of your mat and just come up into this kneeling stance. And we're going to take a side lunge to get into our inner thighs a little more. So from this kneeling stance, I'm stepping my right foot to the top of the mat, right toes pointing forward, and you're just going to lunge down. And you might not need to go very far into this one to feel it. And you can also bring your thumb and index fingers together and use your hand to push your knee open a little bit more. Try to stay tall through your spine. Pull the lower belly in. And now push into that right foot to lift on up, and you're going to turn that right toe in, or those right toes in, so your front foot is parallel to the longer edge of your mat. Left arm reaches up and over, gate pose, big side body stretch. Lengthen out, relax your shoulders. Coming all the way back up through to center and find that kneeling position once more. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So you'll be kind of facing towards the back of your mat this time. Left foot to the back with the toes pointing forward, hands on your hips. Keep everything facing the long edge of your mat as you sink it down. And same option here, using your hand to kind of encourage that thigh to open up a little bit more. Notice what your right shoulder is doing. Sometimes it's going to wrap in. I want you to push your right hip and your right shoulder back. Into your gate pose, straighten that leg. Turn that foot in, right arm stretches up and over. Coming all the way back up, let's release and we'll find our first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So a little bit past your shoulders, walking your hands out here. Spread your fingertips wide, really push down into your fingertips and knuckles. Keep some of the weight out of your wrists before lifting your hips up and back. And you can paddle your feet out here. We'll work on the feet a little bit more. Just lift up as high as you can onto the balls of your feet. And then press your heels down as close as you can get them to the mat. Let's do that twice more. Lift your heels up, push your chest towards your thighs. And press them back down. Last one, lift. And press down. Let's reach our right leg up towards the sky. Bend your right knee, open up your hip. And we'll step our right foot forward to the top of the mat. Keep your left hand where it is. Make sure you have your knee over your ankle. Open up into a twist here. Right arm stretches up to the sky. Let your back knee come down to the mat, and you're going to reach your right hand to the back of the mat. See if you can bend into that left knee to catch a hold of your left foot with your right hand as you add your quad stretch. Keep your hips nice and heavy here. Slow, steady breaths. Looking down to the mat, carefully release the hold of that foot. And now we're going to straighten our right leg. So coming into our half splits, you might want to come up onto your fingertips here to maintain a flat back. And we're going to add that same kind of twist in this pose. Right arm reaches up to the sky. And circle that right arm all the way forward and down. Bend into your right knee, tuck the back toes under, step it back to your three-legged dog. So exactly where we were before. Bend your right knee, open up your hip. And let's bring our knee to our nose, come all the way forward into that plank pose. Inhale, stretch it up and back. 2 more. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, reach. Last one. Exhale, pull it through. Three-legged dog, and find your downward facing dog. Let's take our flow here. Inhale, forward to plank pose. Exhale, lower to your belly. Point the toes back. Roll your shoulders back. Cobra, Bhujangasana. Lower, Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right, let's reach our left leg up to the sky. Bend your left knee, open up your hip. And we'll step it through in between our palms, the top of the mat. Keep your knee over your ankle. Your right hand is under your shoulder. Open up into your twist. And try not to collapse into that shoulder here. Really stay lifted. You can lower your back knee. Add your quad stretch so your left hand reaches back to pull your right heel in towards you. Breathing deeply, you can carefully release the hold of that back foot, and you're going to straighten that left leg, adding a little hamstring stretch here. Square off your hips. Keep your right hand roughly underneath your shoulder as you open into your twist. Push down into your left heel. You can circle that left arm forward and down, bend into that front knee. We're coming back into our three-legged dog. So left leg extends all the way up and back. Bend your knee, open up your hip. And then bring your knee to your nose, come forward into your plank pose. Inhale, three-legged dog. That left leg is straight. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, squeeze. And lift, downward facing dog. Let's add our flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, maybe full chaturanga this time. Into your upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Push into your heels. Walk your feet to the center of your mat and start to walk your hands back. You can widen your feet a little bit more than your hips, so more so towards the edges of the mat. Grab a hold of your 2 big toes with your peace fingers here, and you can bend your knees as much as you'd like. Try to lengthen, find a flat back, and maintain that length in your spine as you fold down, reaching your elbows away from one another. You can absolutely keep a bend in your knees here. Release the hold of the feet, heels in, toes out, malasana, lower down into your squat or garland pose. Hands at your heart. Push your knees open with the help of your elbows. And very carefully sit back. And we're going to extend our left leg out in front of us. Keep your right foot pressing down. Right hand back behind you and just grab a hold of that thigh to open up into a twist. Think of lengthening through your spine here and growing a little taller. And now facing forward, if you'd like, you can just maybe play by adding a bind. So bring your right arm out in front of you and see if you can reach it back. And maybe you're just bringing your arms like this and working on a forward fold, or you might be able to grasp and clasp your hands behind you as you lower. I know for me, I don't lower very far. This is a very challenging pose. And forward folds in general tend to be hard for me. So just go to whatever edge works for you this morning. Let's come all the way back up. One last little pose here on this side. Grab a hold of your right foot with both hands. Lift and lengthen up and see if you can extend that leg. And again, you might just instead be holding on to the back of your shin or the back of your thigh. You can also just keep your knee bent here. And let's release. Same thing on the other side. Right leg is straight. Bend your left knee and just wrap your right arm around that left thigh. Left hand behind you, open twist. Release, facing forward, maybe adding your bind here. So just starting by bringing your left arm out in front of you. And maybe you just keep your arms back, palms facing up. Or you can add a clasp only if it's okay for your shoulders as you fold down. And it's really tempting for that hip to lift up in order to fold further down. I know I'm guilty of this if I don't pay attention. So try to keep your left sit bone on the mat and then fold. You'll get a little bit more sensation along your spine when you do it this way. Coming back up and grab a hold of your left foot, extend to any capacity, modify in any way that you'd like. And let's release. So for our morning classes, usually I don't do a Shavasana pose because I have fallen asleep before. So I'd rather end in a seated meditation, but at home, of course, if you prefer, you're welcome to just lay back down in Shavasana. But let's give ourselves about a full minute here to just really anchor and ground. Slowing down your breath and your heart rate. And as with all of my morning yoga classes, I want you to use this as an opportunity to set an intention for the day ahead. You don't need to overthink it. Just one word that makes you feel good right now that you want to carry through the rest of your day. And as you breathe with your eyes closed, you might silently repeat this one word affirmation to yourself as a way to anchor it. Let's join our palms together at the front of our heart. Together, chanting Om. Let's inhale to chant. Big breath in. Thank you so very much for doing this morning yoga practice with me. I hope you feel a little better in your body, more comfortable and ready to begin your day. A great big thank you to BetterHelp again for sponsoring this video. And if you'd like to stay longer on your mat, you could follow this up with one of my 5-minute morning meditations. Please subscribe and hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow morning.